It is the art of analyzing the physical features of the hands to interpret personality traits and predict future events. Hands, shape, and elements. In palmistry, hands are categorized into 4 elements: earth, air, water, and fire. These elements are believed to correspond to certain personality types. Earth hands, square palms, short fingers, practical and responsible. Air hands, square or rectangular palms, long fingers, sociable and intellectual. Water hands, long palms, long fingers, creative and emotional. Fire hands, square or rectangular palms, short fingers, adventurous and enthusiastic. A person with water hands might be highly intuitive and sensitive, often found in artists and creative individuals. The palmar lines. 3 major lines are examined in palmistry: the heart line, headline, and lifeline. Heart line indicates emotional stability and romantic perspectives. Headline represents intellectual tendencies and depth of thinking. Lifeline reflects physical vitality and life changes. A deep and unbroken heartline suggests a smooth and stable emotional life, whereas a heartline with breaks could signify emotional trauma or upheavals. Minor line significance. Beyond the major lines, palmists study smaller, less conspicuous lines, which can reveal additional insights. Fate line relates to life path and successes. Sun line, associated with fame, luck, and prosperity. Mercury line, indicative of communication skills and business acumen. A strong sun line running parallel to the fate line could indicate fame or success in the individual's future, especially if it's distinct and unbroken. Mounts and their meanings. In palmistry, mounts refer to the fleshy pads at the base of the fingers and the palm. Each mount is named after a planet and is associated with certain characteristics. Mount of Jupiter, ambition and leadership. Mount of Saturn, wisdom and responsibility. Mount of Apollo, sun, creativity and confidence. Mount of Mercury, communication and business skills. Mount of Venus, love and passion. Mount of Mars, courage and aggression. Mount of Moon, imagination and intuition. A pronounced Mount of Venus might indicate a person who is deeply passionate and appreciates beauty, often seen in those who are successful in the arts or romance. Fingers and phalanges analysis. The finger's length, shape, and the phalanges, finger segments, provide additional insights into a person's traits. Finger length, linked to qualities such as expressiveness, intelligence, and interpersonal skills. Phalange proportion. The 3 phalanges relate to individual propensities, e.g., logic, ethics, emotions, and willpower actions. Fingerprints. Unique patterns that can offer clues about specific personal strengths and weaknesses. Longer fingers may point to a detail-oriented person, whereas a dominant middle phalange suggests a balanced approach to emotionality and practicality. Special markings and their interpretations. Palmists also look for unique markings on the hand, such as crosses, stars, islands, and squares. These markings can modify the interpretations of the lines and mounts. Crosses, challenges or significant changes. Stars, moments of destiny or important events. Islands, interruptions or reduced energy in an area of life. Squares, protection or containment of a problem. A star on the Mount of Apollo could represent a moment of brilliance or a significant achievement, highlighting a special talent. Timing on the palm lines. Timing on the lines is an advanced concept in palmistry, involving the calculation of time periods for events predicted based on the spacing between markers on the lines. Calculating time intervals. This can be done by measuring the distance between specific points and correlating them with time. Line progression. Analysis of how the lines evolve over time, potentially indicating changes in various aspects of life. Example: if the distance between 2 points on the lifeline corresponds to a 10-year interval, an island at that area might suggest a challenging period during that decade. Integrating the whole hand. The ultimate skill in palmistry is synthesizing all information gathered from the lines, mounts, and shapes to present a comprehensive analysis. Hand synergy. Each finding does not stand alone. The reader must understand how the various aspects of the hand complement each other. Personal context. Integration of personal context and background into the reading to provide more accurate and meaningful insights. While a solitary heartline might suggest emotional stability, if the surrounding features, such as a prominent Mount of Saturn, suggest caution or reserve, the overall interpretation might lean towards a responsible yet guarded emotional nature. The anatomy of the hand in palmistry. The 4 major lines. Most schools of palmistry focus primarily on the 4 major lines found on the palm. The heart line. The heart line. This line typically runs from the edge of the palm under the little finger across to the area under the middle or index finger. It represents matters of the heart, emotional stability, romantic perspectives, and aspects of love. The headline. The headline, often found starting at the edge of the palm under the index finger, extending across to the palm's other edge. It symbolizes intellect, wisdom, and mental attitudes. The lifeline. The lifeline, beginning near the thumb and arching down toward the wrist. This line reflects physical health, general well-being, and major life changes. The fate line. The fate line. Not everyone has a clear fate line, but when it's present, it can show up as a vertical line that runs up the center of the palm. It tends to represent the degree to which the life of the bearer is affected by external circumstances beyond their control. Minor lines. In addition to the major lines, a reader will consider various other lines, which can include the sun line, indicating fame or scandal, the Mercury line, which can relate to communication style, lines such as the girdle of Venus that might reflect emotional sensitivities or stresses, mounts and planes, the fleshy pads associated with the base of each finger and the thumb, known as mounts, are also crucial in palm reading. Named after the 7 classical planets, these mounts reveal a person's temperament and approach to different areas of life. Mount of Jupiter reflects ambition, leadership, and self-confidence. Mount of Saturn shows wisdom, self-discipline, and patience. Mount of Apollo or Sun relates to creativity and the zest for life. Mount of Mercury, tied to communication skills and business acumen. Mount of Venus reflects love, beauty, and sensuality. Mount of Mars has 2 areas, one indicating courage and the other aggression. Mount of the Moon, associated with intuition and imagination. Finger shapes and lengths. Palmists do not overlook the fingers, as their shapes and lengths can provide additional personality insights. For example, long fingers may indicate a detail-oriented person. Short fingers could suggest a pragmatist. Pointed fingers might be a sign of someone with artistic or intuitive traits. Principles of reading the palm. When reading a palm, it's not just about focusing on individual lines or mounts, but also interpreting the intersections, depth, and clarity of these features. Lines that are deep and clear can signify traits that are strong or deeply ingrained, while broken or faint lines may indicate areas of life that are in flux or underdeveloped. A holistic approach. Palmistry is less about strict predictions and more about understanding a holistic view of the individual. The left hand is often associated with personal potential and what you're born with, whereas the right hand can represent what you become after exerting your free will. A responsible palmist always approaches a reading with sensitivity and respects the person's privacy and psychological well-being. Any insights offered should be presented with compassion and care, avoiding deterministic predictions that might cause distress. By applying these basic principles of palmistry, anyone curious about the practice can begin to appreciate the rich tapestry of signs our hands provide. It's a unique way to reflect on individuality and potential life paths, reminding us that perhaps our destiny is quite literally in our own hands. To do, practice identifying the basic lines and mounts in palmistry. Start by identifying the major lines on your own hand, the heart line, headline, and lifeline. Use a magnifying glass if necessary to see the fine details. Take note of the characteristics of the lines such as depth, length, and clarity. Observe how they intersect and interact with one another. Next, focus on the mounts of the hand, paying attention to the fleshy areas at the base of each finger and the lines running across them. Compare your findings with illustrations or diagrams of palmistry basics to confirm your understanding. By following these steps, you can gain practical experience in identifying the basic principles of palmistry. Each line on your palm is as unique as your fingerprint. In the world of palmistry, these lines are believed to tell a story about your personality, life path, and even potential future. While the anatomical perspective focuses on these as skin creases formed by the movement of the hands, palmistry interprets them as insights into a person's traits and life experiences. The heart line. The heart line, also known as the love line, is one of the most significant lines observed in palm readings. This line usually originates from the edge of the palm under the pinky finger and runs across the upper part of your palm. In palmistry, the heart line is associated with emotional well-being, love life, and compassion. A clear and long heart line is often interpreted as an indicator of deep emotional vitality, whereas a shorter or more fragmented line might suggest emotional struggles or a more guarded approach to love. The headline. Directly below the heart line, you'll find the headline, which often stretches horizontally across the palm. This line starts at the edge of the palm, usually above the space between the thumb and the index finger, and runs toward the middle of the palm's outer edge. Thought to be linked to intellect, the way you think, and your mental pursuits, the headline is dissected by palmists to predict one's learning style, intellectual strengths, and even potential career paths. A straight and distinct headline may imply practical and structured thinking, while a wavy line could imply creativity and a non-conventional approach to problem solving. The lifeline. The third major line is the lifeline, which curves from the edge of the palm between the thumb and forefinger, encircling the thumb ball and ending at the wrist. It is one of the most talked about lines in palmistry, often wrongly associated with predicting the length of one's life. The lifeline reflects physical vitality, life changes, and important life events. A strong and clear lifeline is generally understood to indicate stamina and robust health. A faint or broken lifeline may suggest a need for rest or a propensity for physical exhaustion. The fate line. Though not present in every hand, the fate line is also considered a major line by palmists. It starts at the base of the palm near the wrist and runs up toward the base of the middle finger. This enigmatic line is thought to illuminate aspects of one's life journey, career, and successes. If present and well-defined, it can indicate an individual strongly guided by fate with a sense of purpose. A less prominent or absent fate line might suggest someone who prefers spontaneity or whose path is not wholly determined yet. Observing the line's interplay. When examining the major lines, their intersections, depth, and lengths are also taken into account. The interactions between these lines may offer additional insights. For example, where the headline and the heart line come together, or when the lifeline intersects with the fate line, can provide further personal details and predictions. A pronounced inner Mars can indicate bravery, while a prominent outer Mars may show a tendency towards aggression. Analyzing the mounts. When analyzing the mounts, palmists consider several factors. The prominence of the mount can indicate the strength of certain qualities. The signs or markings on the mounts also contribute additional insight, as they can alter the interpretation. For example, a star on the Mount of Apollo could indicate fame and success, while a cross might represent obstacles to one's creativity. The mounts of the hand offer a rich tapestry of insights into a person's character according to the tradition of palmistry. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, understanding the mounts provides a fascinating perspective on the art of hand analysis. Remember, this is a subjective practice, so while it can be fun and intriguing, it should be approached with an open mind rather than a definitive guide to someone's path in life. To do, identify and explore the meaning of mounts on the palm. Scan the palm to identify the different mounts, such as the mount of Jupiter, Saturn, Apollo, Mercury, and Venus. For example, hold the palm up and examine the base of the fingers and the region below each finger for raised areas or prominent lines. Research and understand the significance of each mount, noting any overlapping traits or characteristics that may be present. For instance, use reputable sources or books on palmistry to gain insights into the individual traits associated with each mount. Take notes on any findings and observations about the mounts, and consider how they may complement or contrast with other palm features. As an example, record any recurring patterns or distinct features related to each mount to facilitate a comprehensive analysis. By following this step-by-step plan, you can effectively explore the meaning of the lines, patterns, and various mounts on the palm and further develop your understanding of palmistry.